time for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone. Bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light them up.
Welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have special guest hosts in the studio today. We have KC Sunshine. How you doing today, Casey?
Doing great, Rob. How are you doing?
Doing very well, man. So let's jump right in and talk about what we're smoking.
All right. Tonight, I brought a little treat for myself. I've got the New World boxed press Cameroon selection.
From AJ.
Yes,
very
AJ
nice.
treat.
Great stick. And I'm fixing to light up. In fact, I just cut my cigar with the Deep V cutter. And we're going to be talking about cutters here in a little bit, talk about all the different kinds. But that's probably one of my favorites is the Deep V.
I'd agree.
So anyway, I'm lighting up a Le Grand Offerte from My Father's Cigar. It's my Father's Day weekend. So I thought, you know what? I'll smoke My Father's.
The shoe fits. Smoke it.
That's right. You can't go wrong with this Offerte. Have you smoked one of these?
I've actually not.
Dude, this is a really nice medium, maybe a little medium plus, nice complexity. Always good construction from My Father's. So it's one of my go-to sticks. And sometimes I forget about it because there's so many other good sticks. And then whenever I really go through and really select some cigars with intention, I always bring home one of these.
Right. Yeah. And with this New World Cameroon, I hadn't smoked a Cameroon in a while. And I had one of our customers from the shop who lives out of state asked us to put together a nice little Cameroon package for him. And so while I was doing that, I was like, hey, you know what I should smoke tomorrow when I go visit Rob? Let's burn a Cameroon. So here we are.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about what we have coming up on the show. We do have Nick Miller from the Cigar Pulpit's going to be on a little bit later. We're going to have our pick 6 of the week. Then we're going to talk about cutters, and that's we're going to cover the whole spectrum of cutters. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we'll be doing our Moose Mountain Coffee giveaway. We do that every week. If you haven't registered to have a chance at winning, all you got to do is go by the website, and that is cigartalkpodcast.com, or we actually just added cigartalkradio.com. So it's both the same site, just two different addresses. So anyway, I want to give a shout out to some new Patreons. Patreons support our show every month. We're very thankful for them. Anyway, we have some new members. We have Patrick, Thomas, and Sean. So we want to say thank you for those guys for supporting the show. If you would like to be a Patreon, head over to our website. There's a link. You click on the link. You go over. There's several different tiers you can choose from. Part of the Patreon is we have a Discord server that we all hang out and shoot the breeze, and different levels. We do different things. So if you're interested in supporting the show, go by, select the Patreon link, and go by and you can sign up. And we really do appreciate it. And so speaking of Patreons, one of the levels that we have is the producers. And we've got a couple of guys that are producers. We have Adam and Sean. And so once a month, we do a video conference call, and those guys actually get on with me, and we talk about different things that we want to do on the show. They give me ideas, what they think would work. They tell me what they like, what they don't like. I ask their opinion about several different things. And so their efforts on helping the show become better is very much appreciated. We went over a lot of things, and I got a lot of good feedback. So thank you so much to Adam and Sean. Those guys are great, and they smoke a lot of good cigars.
Right.
Man.
What a better way to have influence, too, than if you like what we're doing here, you like what Rob and Bryant are doing on a regular basis, consider, jump on, get influence, make the show better. If we enjoy things, nothing better than taking the little effort to make them a little, right direction.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it really was valuable because, I've been doing this for a year and a half now, and sometimes you get tunnel vision, and so it's great to have those guys be able to point out some things that maybe you were doing at one time that they loved and you just quit doing it. And so we're planning on bringing some stuff back, the music episodes.
Oh, well, my original appearance.
Yes, bringing them back.
Excellent. I'm excited. That means I get to come back more often.
Yes,
hopefully.
Absolutely. So, and that's funny. One of the things that Adam said was, I said, who's your favorite guest host? And he said, the chef. So I was like, you mean Casey? And he was like, yeah, that guy.
Excellent. Well, hey, I'm happy to be back here, guys. I'm happy to be back sitting with Rob. I'm sorry Bryant's not here. What did he do? He had a little dysentery or something? What happened to him?
No, he actually went out of town for Father's Day to see some family up in St. Louis.
Oh, fantastic.
He'll be up there for the next week and a half, so we wish him safe travels and just some good time hanging out with his family.
Well, very good. It's well-deserved, and I know they'll be happy to see him and have him around for the Father's Day weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, so I wanted to ask you about because in case everybody doesn't know, Casey actually works at the Leaf as a tobacconist, and so he has a wealth of knowledge on cigars and pipe tobacco and just everything. But he also is a man that knows about the McAuliffe Passport program. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Man, this is a new cool thing by McAuliffe Cigars. These guys, I just want to take a second to brag on McAuliffe Cigars. Through the whole COVID thing, through everything shutting down, really tough on our brick and mortar shops. I mean, we were wondering, we're in the process of relocating our shop. We were wondering how this was going to affect us. You know, our lounge had to close. We went strictly a grab and go. And so McAuliffe starts unveiling all these cool things and programs, doing these virtual HERFs, giveaways, the Phoenix program and the Ultimate Inventory program to allow shops like us to deliver all over the country. And their networking has made it possible for us now. We've expanded our customer base tenfold just thanks to the ambassador program alone. These guys, if you're not an ambassador, I encourage you to go to McAuliffeCigars.com. Check out the ambassador program. Costs you nothing but about 5 minutes of your time to register.
And that's if you're a hunt and peck.
Yeah,
If
which
you're-
I am.
Okay. Well, then that makes sense.
But you get a coin, get your card, get your membership, and then you can join the McAuliffe Ambassadors Facebook group, which has great discourse. And everybody helps each other find what they're looking for. And this has been very valuable in the time of COVID when lots of people's brick and mortars were just completely shut down. It allowed us to help our brothers who are trying to find the sticks they want get a hold of what they need. And
Well, you know what I love about this is I'm always bragging about McAuliffe, and everybody knows they're one of our sponsors. Mm-hmm. But they're not your sponsor.
They're not.
And you can tell everybody that it's 100% true. These guys are legit. They take care of their brick and mortars. They take care of their ambassadors. They take care of the consumers. And they actually come up with some really unique ideas that go far above and beyond what other cigar companies are doing.
Exactly. And that's where this passport program comes in. It's a brilliant idea by McAuliffe. And basically, have you ever been to one of the flying saucers over in bigger city? They've got it's a beer place, and you taste through all the beers, and you get a big beer stein, basically. This is that principle on steroids. So what you do, you pick out a McAuliffe cigar in any shape or size, in any vitola, but you go through the whole bold and the whole legacy line. You put a picture, you take your band off, stick it in your little passport book.
I love that. In fact, I showed that to my wife, and she was like, that makes me want to smoke cigars.
Right? It's so cool. But just the things that come along with finishing your passport, to name a few. One, you've been able to sample the whole McAuliffe cigar line at this point in time. Two, they have a great little discount deal. If you're already an ambassador, you get 20% off through McAuliffe's
Swag store. Yeah.
You know, hats, ashtrays, all the like. It's an additional 25% off your entire order. So let's
that's
say
45%.
Oh, yeah, 45 all day. So that means you finish your passport. You can go on, and you want to get all your buddies to smoke with a McAuliffe hat.
That's
You cut
awesome. 45%
basically in half.
off.
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts. And they've also put together these, right now we have them available through the McAuliffe Ultimate Inventory Program, another great innovation. Call any brick and mortar you want to associate with, and who's a member of the Ultimate Inventory Program, and we can, directly from McAuliffe to your doorstep, drop ship you a sampler pack of everything you need for the passport.
Way.
Everything with the exception of the new McAuliffe A, formerly known as a TBN,
Gotcha.
because those aren't in yet. As soon as those come in, I know we at the Leaf will have plenty at the store, so we'll be happy to get some out to you. But it's just another cool deal, a fun way to get involved and network with the cigar community. And like I said, the things McAuliffe has done for brick and mortars through the COVID time, absolutely amazing. from Al McAuliffe all the way down, Sam Spencer, Dan Thompson, Andy Affey, Brandon Luna. All these guys have done absolutely phenomenal things for all the brick and mortars. That's the amount of emphasis. They could just look out for themselves.
Oh, right.
They could be sending off to, they could just be dealing with CI and online stuff. They could be, no, they're trying to take care of the people who have helped them build their brand, and that to me will forever endear them to me. Just amazing.
And let's just say they make great cigars.
Oh, God.
My go-to cigar is the Medallia, but I love the Experiencia. I love the Reserva, the Riata.
Yes.
I love the Sumatra, the Matafina, the Maduro, the Ligero. I mean, dude, their line. Oh, and they make, for me, my very favorite Connecticut.
That Connecticut's great, isn't it?
That Connecticut is not your father's Connecticut.
No.
It's got a nice kick to it. It's not a real light cigar. And I love it. But, the line is, I know I talk about the Medallia a lot, but I love the Leanda and the Leanda 2.
Yes.
Those are great sticks. But, I mean, their line is just so full that, my go-to is the Medallia, but a lot of their cigars are like special occasions for me. It's like if I want to smoke the Leanda 1, man.
Right.
You know those.
Yes.
It's a beautiful cigar. And it smokes so nice, and the tobacco profile in that cigar and the Reserva is lights out.
Yeah. Oh, I got to smoke one of those with Brandon Luna when we did a virtual event back in May with McAuliffe, and just a treat. And once again, everything these guys have done, they are so intentional with how they want to portray themselves and their product and the experience they want everybody to get, from the brick and mortar down to the average Joe smoking the cigar. That you can tell that difference.
Well, I'll tell you this too, and I'm not knocking anybody particular, but a lot of cigar companies talk the talk. McAuliffe walks the walk. You can tell by their actions that they really do care about the brick and mortar, their ambassadors, and the consumers.
Yeah, it's that intentionality they bring to the table. They actively seek feedback from everybody in the consumption chain.
Oh, yeah, everyone.
And they put it to use. They walk that walk, and it's just the coolest thing. So anyway, I encourage you, if you're not an ambassador, to go to McAuliffeCigars.com, sign up for the ambassador program, and whether or not you are or aren't, come by your local brick and mortar and grab a passport and get started on this experience. You don't have to buy the full pack and stuff. I know at the Leaf we have everything you need besides the A in stock. We got a just massive shipment from them earlier this week, and we have everything in just every size pretty much, and we're guns
I love
a-blazing.
that about the Leaf, that they do carry the complete line.
Yeah, well, I mean, and part of the reason we do is because of how well they take care of us.
True. True. But also on the flip side, you can't do that with any cigar company if the consumers aren't buying those cigars.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have become so popular that it's easy to carry their cigars because they're not just going to sit on the shelf.
Oh, yeah. And, once again, this is where that community they built up comes in. I can name names of guys I've never met in person who live 1,000 miles away from me. William White, Bill Flowers,
right?
Brendan Klein. These guys who have
Charlie Serrano.
Yeah, these are all guys who have actively more than once purchased from our shop and have us ship across the country because they enjoy the brand, they enjoy the line, and now we're networked and we get to take care of these guys over and over again. It's fantastic and it's fun.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, so let's get to our pick six.
All right.
Now, do you have your pick six lined up?
I do have my pick
All
six
right, well, then I'm
lined
going to let you go first.
All right. We're going to just continue on the McAuliffe train because we got in the Experienza La Crema in a Churchill. I'd never enjoyed that one.
I have not had the Churchill.
You'll have to come by and grab one. It's everything you enjoy about the Experienza La Crema, just for a
little
30
bit
minutes
longer, right?
Yeah. Just absolutely delightful smoke, and you can't go wrong with that. In fact, I sent my father I got him to sign up for an ambassador program. I shipped him out this weekend 3 of the Experience of La Cremas and 3 of the Medallias.
Oh, nice.
he
You're
hadn't,
sure a good son.
I am, and he hadn't had a chance to get his hands on them yet. So, I just wanted him to enjoy.
Now he's still up in Albuquerque.
He's out in Albuquerque and stuff. They're actually in Rio Dosa for the weekend with some friends.
Man,
so,
I'm jealous.
yeah, 2 other couples. So I signed up for all the guys and to enjoy
Wow.
some cigars. So got to be a good son every once in a while.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, what's
Yeah.
number 2?
Number 2 on the list is just an old tried and true favorite. It's the Melania V.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
You can't. It's a solid. I need something a little more rich and robust for my evening, and it was exactly what I wanted.
I haven't had one of those in a while, and I tell you what, I say this all the time, but I posted a picture of one of those on Reddit, and this man, I don't know if you've been on Reddit, but those guys are vicious.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, that cigar's so overrated. And I was like, I disagree. I think it's a delicious cigar. It's a nice medium, and it has that dark cocoa hints. You got some leather in there, some earthiness, and I think it's a great smoke.
Oh yeah. And it truly is. It's a good fun smoke, and just what I needed. I had a good dinner, and I just needed something to, finish the night off right. It was a perfect thing for me.
Awesome.
And then the last thing, which I hadn't smoked in ages, and I just needed something, a little short time span, grab one of the short stories. When's the last time you smoked a short story?
It's been a while.
It's been a while for me too. And I forgot, it's just classic, went to good construction, just,
It's a solid stick.
Solid stick. And I was just happy. You forget, especially when you're in the cigar industry, you forget about some of these things that were staples for a long time. And I was just like, damn.
I do that all the time.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, and when you go back to it, you're like, oh, now I remember.
Right. I mean, and it goes all the way back. Like, I'll have new people come in the shop, new to smoking and everything, and they're asking me, what direction to point them in. And every time I think about that first cigar that Bill Clam put in my hand, 20 years ago.
Right.
And, it was the Oliva G series. And I couldn't tell you when the last time I actually smoked one was.
Dude, I actually smoked an Oliva G last week.
Yeah?
And it was the first time in at least a year. And it was such a beautiful construction and burn. I was just like, what? I don't smoke these often enough.
Right. And that's one of those, and that's why I have no problem putting somebody on something like that, is because it's, it's going to be a quality constructed smoke. And, I like starting people off on something that's not going to be too offensive to the palate if you're new to smoking. So anyway,
Good roundup.
Those are my 3 plus the original smoke shout out. So.
Can't beat it. So I kind of was all over the place this week. I started out with a Perdomo Sun-Grown.
Really?
Yes, great
right.
smoke. I used to smoke those like they were going out of style.
Yeah.
And kind of got away from them, and so it was kind of like circling back. And then my next cigar was the Roma Craft Intemperance, which, I used to smoke a lot of those. And, that's more of the medium Roma Craft.
Yeah.
And for Roma, that's pretty light.
Was it the EC or the BA?
It was the EC.
Okay, yeah. So, that's going to be on the lighter side of there.
Yeah. And then I rounded out the top 3 for me this week with a Padron 1964 Maduro.
Yeah, of course you did.
Well,
I know.
you got to.
You went the Maduro, though.
Yes, I did.
Okay, really?
I prefer the Maduro in the 64.
Okay.
And really, when I smoke the Padrones in the natural, usually it's like the 3,000 to 6,000.
Okay.
But if I'm going to smoke the 64 or the 26, I really prefer the Maduros.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that...
I like the hint of spice that it comes through on that Maduro versus the natural. You don't really get that.
Right. It's just, especially in the 26, that Maduro's that just knocks me on my butt, man. I'm just over it after that.
Oh, I don't notice that.
Well, yeah. Well, you really are grizzled.
Yeah, just a little bit. Hey guys, it's that time. We're going to shift gears here and let's talk about cigar cutters. There's a ton of different cutters out there, and the best cutter is the one that you have.
Indeed.
Here's the thing. I've always said the worst thing in the world is to have a cigar and no lighter or cutter.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I would rather not have a cigar if I don't have fire. But everyone's got to have a cutter, and I've been through tons of different cutters. And really, if you're new to the sport, you brought something up before the show that I thought was very interesting, because for a new guy, I always recommend the perfect cut. You know, it's a straight cut, but it's got the back so that you can't put it in too far.
Yeah.
So that's a safe cut. But before the show started, what did you tell me?
Well, I was talking about the deep V and the way it's shaped. It's so accessible. You can find them almost everywhere, and it's got that back so you can't screw the cut up. Your cap's going to be intact every time, and you're always going to have enough of a draw. Now, similar principle for the regular or the shallow V cut. I have no use for a shallow V cut.
I can't stand the shallow V.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I have tried the shallow V numerous times, and it was like whenever the deep V came out, I didn't even try it because I was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like a V cut. And everybody just kept on me. And finally I used one, and I was like, wow, I need to get one of these.
It was a game changer because once again, it has the principles of what you want the V cut to do, which is leave more of the cap intact. But that notch it takes out guarantees you're going to get the draw. And that's the issue with the shallow V. Half the time you're still not able to get a good draw on it. And it just, you end up dicking around with it or probably going and guillotining it afterwards anyway.
Well, and let's also talk about the punch.
Okay.
I think the punch has a place in your cabinet. For me, I prefer the larger punch, the 11 millimeter,
yeah.
right? Because I believe they come in like a 6, 9, and 11.
Right.
And
I haven't seen a 6, but typically, like the smaller gauge is typically that 9, and then they've got that 11, which is, that's nice.
You know, yeah, if I was going to be doing a punch, but like I said, after getting a deep V, I don't mess around with anything else except for my tabletop cutter over there.
I love your tabletop cutter.
Well, you know, the tabletop is nice, and it's a lot like a perfect cut in the fact that you can't screw it up.
Yes.
It fits down in there. You do the guillotine arm on the side, and it cuts it perfect every time.
It's a winning slot machine. It's got the little arm lever and everything.
And you know what's so funny is I use that so often that about once a month I have to open up the bottom, and it is just jam-packed with tobacco in there that I cut off my cigars.
Yeah, it's Rob's piggy bank.
Yeah, it really is. It's what it feels like. So the punch, I mean, I know a lot of guys that like the punch, though. You know,
Oh, yeah, like Junior loves the punch. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And so it's not really my thing, but the thing about it is, here's how the punch works. It's basically just a cutout in a circular form, and you just kind of twist it back and forth to cut out a circle in the tip of your cigar. Now, however, I don't think that you could use a punch on a torpedo.
That would be awkward.
Yeah, because that would not, I don't think that would work. I've never tried it, but so you're limited there on the punch to where on a straight cut or a deep V, you could do a torpedo.
Yes. In fact, I still use a deep V on my torpedoes. So
I do as well.
Too. Yeah.
And so then the next one is the cigar scissors. Now, I own a pair, hate them.
I'm not a fan either.
You know where mine are?
Where?
Mine are in the glove box of my car. And you want to know why?
Emergencies?
Emergency. If I'm somewhere and I don't have my deep V for some unknown reason, I do use the scissors.
Right.
And what I have found about at least the scissors that I have, it doesn't cut as much as it does pinch.
Yeah, it pinches and tears almost. And
You never get a clean cut.
No. And I've seen great ones. I mean, like, I have a buddy who swears by them out in New Mexico. Once again, the end of my cigar, I don't want a lot of the loose particulate. I don't want the shredded bits on the end of my cigar.
No, I want a clean cut. Now, I will say that they do work better on a torpedo than they do, you know, a Robusto or Toro.
That makes sense, yeah.
And they absolutely don't work at all on a Gordo. It's a bad idea. Now, I will say, Sean, from our Patreon group, he had a very interesting pair of scissors, and I don't even know if you call them scissors. I probably don't know the technical name for these, but they look like scissor handles. But on the end where you would normally have a cutter, it has 3 blades that operate like an aperture of a camera lens.
Oh.
And so they twist around and cut.
Right.
And while we were doing our Zoom meeting the other night, I asked him if he would show it to me, and he actually cut a cigar with it, and it was a nice cut. And I don't ever see those at the shops.
Oh yeah.
So it was a really cool little contraption. He said it was, I think he said it was under $15.
Really?
But it was a really interesting cut because the scissor arms operate that round aperture that closes down and makes a cut.
Yeah.
So I would be interested in having a pair of those to replace the scissors in my glove box.
Sure. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I'm anxious to see how that would work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After the show, I'm going to pull up a picture of it so you can see what it looks like. It's actually really cool looking too. And then really we have the tabletop cutters, which I'm a huge fan of, and I have the 2-slot. They make a 4-slot. And so the 4-slot has a larger ring gauge, so you can cut like a 70 or 80 on it. Mine will only cut up to a 60 ring gauge. Okay. But I don't smoke anything bigger than a 60, and I rarely smoke a 60. Yeah. And then also my tabletop has it's a V cut. It's deeper than a normal, but it's not as deep as this, and I never use it. I just use the straight cut.
Right.
And now, have you ever seen, if you look across the top of a tabletop cutter like that, have you ever looked at the cut? Oh. Because of the way the blade cuts it, it's not straight across. It's oval. Yeah. So anyway, those are great. And I think that cutter was like $75, which I think is a bargain because I've had it for like 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And it still works like new. Someone told me they dull really easy. I haven't had that issue.
I was going to say, I've never had a problem with yours, at least. Here's one I have a question about. Have you seen the cigar perforator things?
I have seen, because the Leaf had those at one time.
We still have 2 of them. I think we had 3 of them to begin with. They're weird, man. I mean, it's an interesting concept. So what this thing does, basically, it's got about 5 sharp prongs on it. It almost looks like 5 ends of a thumbtack sticking out. And you hold it against your cigar and you press the plunger on it. It shoots these tacks into the cap of the cigar to, I guess, attempt to mimic a full cut without having it. My issue with that is they're probably a 1/4 of an inch to maybe 2/3 of an inch in depth that goes in. So it doesn't. The time I tried it, there was no way that cigar drew like I was sucking on a regular cap that hadn't been cut yet. It was just terrible.
Yeah, I've seen those. They do look interesting. I don't know what they're called, but I'm not really a fan. Now, there's another cutter. I don't know if you've seen, but I used to have one, and it's called the Southern Draw. Now, it looks like a Bishop chess piece. Okay. The bottom unscrews, and when you take the bottom off, there's 3 sharp prongs. And it's basically the same concept of like a punch, but you shove those 3 prongs in, so it gives you 3 little holes to draw through. And then when I tried it, I actually stuck the 3 prongs in and then turned it 45-degree angle and did it again, so it had 5 holes.
Right.
And you know what? It was okay, but I like a nice draw, and I don't like to feel like I'm sucking a milkshake through a straw.
No, you shouldn't have to put that much work into smoking a cigar, I guess, is my real point. And I feel like if you do things like that, you're cheating yourself of the experience.
Right. And
you shouldn't have to work that hard.
If the experience is not just relaxation, then it's not as enjoyable as it should be.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up our talk on cutters. If you have questions or maybe a comment about what we've talked about, definitely shoot me an email and let me know what you think. And we didn't really cover the V-cut very much. And I know a lot of guys that like the old V-cut. And I would probably say those are the guys who've never tried the deep V-cut.
Yeah.
But I know guys that like the deep or the regular V, and it's just never been one for me because, like you said, it still works because you don't get that easy draw.
Exactly. I just have no use for it. Why do that when you can have such better experience with the DV?
Right. So I don't get it. I have the Calibre deep V cutter. And it's like
it's a great tool.
$40, $42 is what I think I paid for it. So, hey guys, we got Nick Miller coming up next. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break. We do have Nick Miller from the Cigar Pulpit. What's going on, Nick?
Not much, Rob. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm sitting here smoking a Cane Daytona Habano 550, man. Do you ever smoke these?
I have not. No.
Oh, dude, I usually have them in the morning with coffee, but it's a, what is this? What do you think it is, Casey? That's probably about a 46, maybe a 44 gauge. And
you like those cigars?
yeah, I like the thinner ring gauge, but what are you smoking, brother?
I just lit up a Punch Signature Toro. I had a Leaf by Oscar Corojo, but my umbrella decided to attack me. And I had one of the support arms fall off and hit me and knocked my cigar out of the ashtray, which caused it to hit the ground and split all down the wrapper, and it just became unsmokable. So,
well, that sucks.
It's a shame because I really like those Leaf by Oscar, man.
Man, I do too. I'm a big fan. I out of those, I think I like the Maduro best, and I'm not a huge Maduro fan. Are you a big Maduro guy?
Yeah, I like Maduro.
I mean, I like Maduro, but it's not my go-to all the time. You know what I mean? It's got to be a really good Maduro for me to smoke it.
I've been on a real Corojo kick lately after the
Aladino. Yeah.
Corojo Reserva, yeah.
Well, those have been fantastic, man.
Which, I mean, in terms of Corojo, no disrespect to Oscar, I don't know if you get any better than the Aladino Corojo Reserva.
No, I agree. And you know what? I kind of feel the same way about the Maduros. For me, of course, everybody knows I love the Medallia. But I tell you what, that Aladino Maduro is just home run for me. And out of the whole Aladino line, I think that the Maduro is probably my favorite out of all of those.
Yeah.
And then I would go with the Corojo Reserva, and then I would go with the Cameroon, and then I would go with the Connecticut. But the thing about it is, I would go with any four of those cigars at any time, day or night.
Oh, definitely. And I go back and forth between the Corojo Reserva and the Cameroon. That Cameroon is just amazing, especially and I'm not one, but that Lonsdale, that 6x46.
Oh, that's my size right there, 6x46.
That is the size for that cigar because because if you go too much bigger than that, the Corojo binder and filler tend to just ever so slightly overpower that creaminess of the Cameroon. But that 46 is just perfect because you get that Cameroon, and then you get that burst of Corojo spice, and it's just amazing.
See, I mean, now this is just complete theory, and what that usually means is I'm completely making stuff up. But what I think is, like, when a cigar blender starts blending a cigar, they blend the perfect cigar for a 6x46, and then everything else is just kind of like, that'll do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. When I've talked to Oscar before, he actually tells me that he blends for a 6x60.
Really?
And then he pairs it down. Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. So no, he's actually blending for a Gordo and then pairing it down from there, which is kind of nice because when you think about it, the Gordo if they're blending for a smaller cigar, by the time you get to the Gordo size, which I tend to smoke a lot of Gordos.
Do you really?
I do. You know what? It's one of those things that when you look at a Toro, they're, depending on the cigar, maybe let's just say average of $10. You get a Gordo, you get just that much more tobacco, and it's maybe only like $1 more.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's $1 more of cheap tobacco.
But see, that's the thing. If they're blending for the 6x60, then that means that 6x60 is going to be just amazing. And then they can kind of like pare it down, and it just gets, arguably better or different.
Well, and to be fair, I'm not a blender. I don't pretend to be one on TV. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know how they do the blending. So if they blend for a 6x60 and then work their way down, that's great. But for me, I personally don't like sticking something that big in my mouth.
Oh, I don't go much bigger than 60.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had a 7x70 not long ago, and I was just like, dude, this is not even enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I've had 70s. I've definitely never gone bigger than a 70. But the 70s, it's just, it takes forever. I mean, that's a solid 3-hour smoke right
Oh,
there.
yeah. I smoked a 7x70 last week. And
Yeah, you just get bored with it.
yeah, and it was like 2 hours, which for me, that is a long smoke. And that's one of the reasons I like the smaller ring gauge is because, I mean, a 6x46 is normally about a 30-minute smoke for me.
Gotcha.
But it's like
Wait,
pure
6x46 is only a 30-minute smoke for you?
Yeah.
You're a fast smoker, dude.
I am a fast smoker.
Yeah.
I'm also a fast lover.
60-second scam.
That's right. I'm a 6x60 when it comes to loving. So let's tell everybody about Cigar Pulpit. You're the host, and you have a co-host named Gator.
6 times a year in 60 seconds, right?
That's right.
Okay, I got you.
So
yes, I do have a co-host named Gator.
And so, how long have you guys been doing the Cigar Pulpit now? It's probably been, what, 9 months?
It'll be a year in August, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming up.
That's amazing. And let me tell everybody, if you haven't checked out the Cigar Pulpit, it's one of the shows that I listen to, and I don't listen to a lot of cigar podcasts. So that's saying something. I'm real impressed with Nick's show. Gator's great. In fact, I was on the Cigar Pulpit last week, and we had a good time. And let me just warn you now, if you go over there and listen to that show, that's not the Rob Jones you hear on this show.
Yeah, we're a little bit more loosey-goosey, a little bit more...
Crude.
Yeah, freewheeling.
Freewheeling.
Yeah.
I was going to say free balling, but whatever.
Possibly.
So.
Well, no, it's true. Half the time Gator doesn't have pants on.
Right. So
yeah.
So anyway, you guys have been doing a show now for about 9 months. You have a lot of great guests. Y'all do Cut and Light. Y'all talk about a cigar every Friday. Now, when does the Friday show come out?
So we actually have shows coming out every Tuesday and Friday.
Gotcha.
And the shows, they'll be available right when you wake up on Tuesday and Friday. Like, I make it a point sometime Monday night and Thursday night. I mean, typically it might be like 1 a.m. my time, but when you wake up on Tuesday and Friday, the show will be available.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
And we said your co-host is Gator, but you go by what? The Bishop?
Only in the introduction.
Ah.
Yeah, only in the introduction. It's it's the Bishop of the Burn and Gator. Yeah.
Bishop of the Burn and Gator.
Yeah.
So, well, let me just say, man, you guys do a great job. I enjoy the chemistry between you and your co-host, and I like what you guys do.
We're just two morons with microphones. That's really what it boils down to.
Well,
so
y'all do good job, though, because I've heard some morons that have microphones that don't do a good job. So, well, how long have you and Gator known each other?
We've known each other often. Well, we met in 2013, so it'd be 7 years ago, I guess. But we started hanging out in 2014, so we've really been hanging out for about 6 years now. So
when you met Gator, I mean, and y'all started hanging out, were you like going through some kind of a depression time of your life? I mean, what was the connection there?
Well, no, see, okay, we're both in the newspaper industry. He owns a couple newspapers in Southern Illinois. And at the time that I met him, we were, some friends of mine and I were looking in the prospect of starting something up. And so we actually reached out to him as kind of like a consultant because another friend of mine knew him tangentially. So he came into the picture and kind of gave us some advice about how we could start up our project and this and that and whatever else. And I ended up starting that project in 2015, but you know, the projects he came on board to help us with, that kind of fizzled out. But no, I just kind of met him through newspapers, and we hung out. And
now, did he smoke cigars when you met him?
He smoked cigars off and on since he was 16. Yeah, but like when I say cigars, I mean like the
backwoods
for $1 cheapy stuff. Exactly. He only started getting into the decent stuff in like the last handful of years, and probably really once he and I started smoking, because I'm not going for the gas station stuff.
Right. So, yeah, me neither. Yeah. So tell everybody where you guys live.
We live in Southern Illinois. We're about 15 minutes east of St. Louis.
Okay.
So we're just on the other side of the Mississippi River from St. Louis.
Now, are you originally from there?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in this area. Jeff originally was born, he's from maybe a little south of here. He's living closer to St. Louis now, but he's probably about an hour and a half out of St. Louis, I would say. But yeah, he's Southern Illinois boy as well.
Well, how far does he live away from where you are?
He lives about 45 minutes away from me.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. You said an hour and a half from St. Louis. I was like, man, that's a long drive for y'all to get together.
That's where he grew up and everything like that. But he lives about 45 minutes away from me now.
I got you. So tell us a little bit about your newspaper. That's something that's unusual. You don't hear very many people doing.
Yeah, well, it was easier than starting up a horse and buggy operation or a gaslight company, and it was one of those things. But yeah, no, I own a small weekly newspaper in a community just next door to my town that has a population of about 38,000 people. And we just kind of focus on the really hyper local stuff, the city council meetings, the school board meetings, the high school sports, just the local towny stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that people can't get online easily. But that's the kind of stuff that people will buy, because I'm a big believer in scrapbook journalism, the stuff that people clip out and save and put in their scrapbook.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the stuff that sells. So that's what I focus on, and that's what we do. And we've been doing that now for, we're in our 6th year of business now.
Let me tell you, when I was I was getting ready to start 2nd grade, and I was in a TG and Y. You remember those?
No, what is that?
Before your time. Okay. It's kind of like a Target, but it was, TG and Y. And they just had everything. But that's where we went back whenever I was in 2nd grade. And anyway, a lady from the newspaper was there. And, back then you could just walk up with kids and start talking. There was no, crazy stuff going on. But anyway, she cornered me and was like, hey, so would you ask or answer some questions? And I was like, sure. So she says, what grade are you going into? And I was like, 2nd. And she was like, so are you ready to go back to school? And I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait. Total lies. But let me tell you, they took a picture that was in the newspaper and then they quoted what I said. And my parents cut that out. So I completely get what you're saying, because we still have that. And so
they probably bought like 8 copies to give to aunts and uncles and grandmas.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And so that's a great idea. And I hadn't thought about that, but scrapbooking newspapers, that's awesome, man.
I'll tell you, that's the one. Everybody talks about how newspapers are in such trouble and everything like that. And the big regional papers, the ones that cover like multiple counties and those kind of the corporate owned stuff, that stuff is in trouble. It costs a lot of money to run an operation that big, and the money's just not there. But you can eke out a living if you really drill down and go hyper local with it. As long you got to work your butt off, but you can do it.
Right. Well, and you think about the big newspapers, just say like the New York Times. They do a cookie cutter type paper and they're trying to reach the masses. And so, it is difficult for them to maintain an audience that wants to actually buy a newspaper.
Well, and the thing about the New York Times is, they're a national publication and everything else. But when you go to New York City, and I've never been, but I was talking to Dave Rivera from Martinez about this. He told me there's tons of little itty bitty papers all over New York City that just focus on different neighborhoods. So even though they've got the New York Times, which everybody looks upon as this great big newspaper, because they are so big, they can't concentrate on the local neighborhood level stuff. And so it's allowed other publications to come in and exist alongside the New York Times, doing exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, and really thrive, I assume, in those different communities.
Well, yeah.
So let me ask you this. You run your own paper. You have a podcast for cigars. Do you put anything about cigars in your newspaper?
I don't. I do keep the worlds a little separate, mostly because, and this is going to sound kind of maybe chicken of me, but I tend to do that just so that I can keep the anti-tobacco lobby away from attacking my newspaper.
No, that's good. That's good. No,
but yeah, so I do kind of keep the worlds a little separate.
Yeah,
but,
I completely
on the flip
understand.
side, if a tobacco shop or somebody wanted to advertise, I have no problem whatsoever in helping them with that. So.
Yeah, and I would imagine that would be a great place for a local lounge to advertise, because it's all the local people who are taking your paper.
Precisely. And I mean, we have an Air Force base, a really big Air Force base, just right on the edge of my community. So, I mean, you've got all the airmen and pilots and everything else there that I think are looking for places to go for that stuff too. So,
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit further. I mean, you grew up in the St. Louis area. So, yep. I mean, did you go to high school in that area? Did you play sports? Were you in the band? Were you in the chess club? Tell us a little bit about Nick.
I did go to high school in the area. I went to high school in Belleville, Illinois. I went to the Catholic high school here, and I did not take part in any sports or really much in the way of activities. I got a job like right when I could when I was 16 because I wanted a car in the worst possible way. So I got a job at the movie theater, and I worked there for a little over 2 years, slinging popcorn, movie tickets, and everything else. And
nice.
I came home smelling like buttered popcorn every night. But, it was a fun gig.
So we got to ask, you worked your butt off, saved your money, and bought a car. What was your first car?
First car was a 1996 Ford Taurus. It was the model that was like the big one that was shaped. Everything was shaped like an almond. You know, it was all
yeah.
It was gold with a tan interior. And
did you tint the windows?
I did not.
Oh,
I did not. But man, it was a great car. It ran really well until the transmission blew out.
Well, that's a Ford for you.
Exactly. We won't get into what Ford stands for.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember. Something about forever in the repair shop or something.
I always heard it was an effed over rebuilt Dodge.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You ever been in jail?
No, I probably should have been. No. So
can Gator answer that question the same?
No, he definitely should have been, but no, I don't believe he's ever been in jail either.
I just like to ask that question when I get the opportunity.
Like I said, he definitely should have been, though.
I got you.
Yeah.
So what do you guys got going on for the Cigar Pulpit show?
Well, we've been going strong with guests, and we've had a lot of really good ones through the COVID break. I guess people have the opportunity to come on and hang out now that they're trapped in their homes and offices. And so I think I'm lining up a new round of guests. We just had Nick Melillo from Foundation. We had, who else? We had Jeff Amendola. We've had quite a few really good guests here lately.
Yeah, Jeff Amendola, he's a great guy. Great story,
nice
too.
Guy.
Yeah.
Super nice guy.
And he makes a great cigar.
Yeah. Oh, dude, his cigars are awesome. He sent me a nice pack of them so that we had some to smoke on the show. And what ended up happening is my palate tends to be a little different from Gator's. He likes the Connecticut, the shade grown, more mild stuff. And I tend to like I'm more of a medium to full bodied smoker. And so what happened was Jeff smoked the Connecticut on that show. Jeff Amendola smoked the Habano, and I smoked the Maduro. And so we were able to kind of talk about all three cigars in that one episode. And I then turned around and smoked the other two later, and there wasn't a dog in the bunch, man. I mean, those are fantastic cigars. I would highly recommend them.
Oh, yeah. I had him on the show last year, and he sent me a 5-pack, and I tell you what, they were fantastic. I mean,
he's supposed to be getting me some of those cannolis.
No, I've never had any of those.
I guess they're like his little, not dessert cigar, but like some special cigar that he does. He's supposed to be getting me some of those, and I can't wait to try those.
Well, cool.
Because if they're special versus what he sent me, then they're going to be amazing. So
now what's going on with you and our Martinez? Can you talk about that yet?
Yeah. So Martinez Cigars, they first reached out to me probably September of last year, and asked me if we'd be interested in smoking some of their cigars. So, and I'm not going to say no to free cigars, So,
yeah, I know you.
Yeah, exactly. Says the guy who smoked one of mine. But anyway, they sent me some of the 45s, and we, Jeff and I Gator and I were sitting around, trying to figure out what we were going to smoke on our episode about Christmas gift ideas for cigar smokers. and we didn't have a cigar picked out, and we were at my house, and it was a question of, well, what do I have two of? And I had these, and I told Gator, I said, well, we can smoke these, but I've never smoked one, so if it's bad, we're going to have to be honest about it. And so that's how we started the show. We started the show explaining just that. And apparently Dave over at Martinez was just petrified when he heard that and committed to listening at that point because, he didn't want to have a bad review out there.
Sure.
So, but, man, I mean, you've smoked the 45. We loved that cigar.
I love the 45, but, dude, I love the Martinez flat iron.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, especially in the, what's the one he sent me, Lancero. And, I'm not a big Lancero guy, but it was a box press, and it blew my skirt up, man. It was nice.
Yeah, it's a good cigar. And actually, I'm not a big box press guy. Something about mouthfeel. It's weird. But he told me he was going to try and get me some flat irons before they put them in the press so that I could try a round flat iron.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be really curious about that. But
then it would be called the round iron.
Exactly. So he sent me these cigars. We reviewed them, and we loved them. And so we just kind of started talking through Instagram a little bit. Well, then flash forward to TPE in Las Vegas. I went out there in January, and I met the Martinez team, and we just instantly hit it off. Jesus is just one of the nicest guys.
Oh, so you got to meet Jesus in person.
Oh, yeah. He was there at the booth, and Dave was there. Those two guys are just the nicest people that you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I was real impressed with both of them, of course.
Yeah, super nice, super nice. And so we hit it off, and just in conversation out in Las Vegas, I kind of mentioned, Dave was asking, what my goals were with the podcast and everything. Goals, you want more listeners, you want this, you want to maybe make a little bit of money if you can, that kind of thing. But on the flip side, I told him one of the really lofty goals that for the life of me, I don't know how we're ever going to get it done. I told him, Jeff and I have been joking since we started that how cool would it be if we could make friends with a manufacturer and get a Cigar Pulpit cigar, like an official Cigar Pulpit cigar. And Dave just looked at me and goes, we can do that. And it just kind of stopped me for a minute. I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. He's like, let's figure it out. So we started talking, and we've come up with a plan, and it's going to be an all new blend. This isn't like a white label thing where they're taking like an already existing blend kind of deal and just slapping a band on it. This is an all new blend they're putting together. They're actually making two cigars. They're making the Bishop and the Gator. And then that way Jeff gets his Connecticut shade grown. I get my, I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being like a San Andreas.
You got to do that. I got to interrupt you for 1 second. For the Bishop, it has to be a torpedo.
Why is that?
Well, like the chess piece.
Ah, that's good. I like that, actually.
Hey, I have a few good ideas, but go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just think it needs to be a torpedo.
No, I get you. Anyway, so we're doing these cigars, and the tobacco has been shipped up from the Dominican, and it should have arrived in New York on Monday. And as soon, once it arrived, the blenders were getting going, putting together test blends. I should be getting the test blends hopefully in the next week or two, and we're going to start smoking those, seeing what we like, what we don't like, giving notes and kind of going back with them and tweaking the blends to where they're just perfect. And then hopefully I'm hoping, cross my fingers, hopefully by end of July, beginning of August, the Cigar Pulpit. Sorry, it's really windy out on my deck. I'm going to head inside here, Rob. I hope I'm coming through okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Barely.
Okay. So anyway, hopefully by the end of July, beginning of August, we will have official Cigar Pulpit cigars that people can order and smoke along with us and hopefully enjoy.
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome. In fact, you should do like a special show once a month where that's what you smoke.
Oh, we're going to be smoking these plenty, let me tell you.
No, I mean like where all the fans can listen and smoke with you. You know what I mean? Like once a month, we're going to be smoking the Bishop and the Gator.
Definitely.
Or even twice a month. One time you do the Bishop and the next time you do the Gator.
Well, we're going to be, getting these things out there and promoting them as much as possible. So no, that's a really good idea. That would be a good way for people to be encouraged to get some and try them and everything.
Yeah, awesome, man. I think that
awesome.
is awesome. I used to want to do that myself, but then I was like, with the FDA and all that, I just, it's not worth it. It's a lot of work. And
well, that's the beauty of partnering with Martinez, is it kind of gets us,
through all
those hoops and everything, but quite frankly, it becomes their problem.
Right. So, absolutely. Well, and I talked to Dave before. They've got a lot of predicates, so it's really not even an issue.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
So what do you got planned for this evening? I heard rumor you might be sliding on over to some other friends of our show.
Yeah, I'm going to be recording an episode of The Straight Cut with Mark and Aaron. And then as soon as I'm concluding that, I plan on popping over to your video herf. Your herfs have been a really great addition to the COVID schedule,
Yeah, and I'll tell you what,
really nice.
it's every week I keep thinking I'm not going to have one this Saturday night. And then I get all these messages from people saying, hey, are we having a herf this weekend? And I'm like, hey, man, if y'all want to do it, I'll be happy to host it. And
well, dude, what's nice is like you meet so many people and they're the same people every week. So you kind of like look forward to getting together. It's kind of like, it's almost like another lounge, you know? It's like you're meeting, guys from all over the country and hell, all over the world that you wouldn't have encountered before, and you get to know them through this. So no, kudos to you. You've done a really good job creating something that I think people look forward to and want to take part in every week.
Well, I appreciate it. And my friend Tim up in Lubbock.
Oh yeah.
He's not even really what I consider to be a cigar smoker, but he has actually got to where he buys at least 3 cigars a week, and he smokes all 3 Saturday night when we do the herf. So, I mean, it's kind of cool bringing a new guy into the cigar family. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And so we're going to be doing it tonight, and then I believe next Saturday night I'm going to be out of town, so I may see if I can host it while I'm out of town, or I may see if you want to host it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure something out one way or the other.
Because apparently everybody who comes to these herfs, they like you too. I tried. I don't know why, but whatever.
I don't know why either, but
So, but what I really figured out about the herfs is I host it, I get on, and I'm old, so I last as long as I can, which is usually about midnight 30 to 1, and then I leave, and then like you guys stayed one night till 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, holy crap.
There was one night that there were 3 of us that hung on until, it was actually almost near 5 by the time we got done. Yeah.
Well, I heard a rumor about the last one that I got to be honest, I wasn't real thrilled about. I heard after I got off, it got real political. And, I try to steer the conversation away for that because we're all there to have a good time. And, nobody wants to voice just because you feel one way about political stuff doesn't mean everybody in the room feels that way. So, we can all enjoy cigars and bourbon and scotch and coffee and all that good stuff and just have a good time without bringing that trash.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't on that one, but yeah, it gets awkward because, everybody has their opinion. But you don't want to express your opinion because you don't want to insult anybody
it's one thing.
Get into the debate.
It's one thing to lightly say where you are, but it's another thing when you start diving into issues, and it's like, you know what? Nobody's on the same page, so let's just move on.
Exactly.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, dude, appreciate you coming on. Good luck on the tour for the Cigar Pulpit, because I know you were on Down to the Nub. Now you're on Cigar Talk, and now you're going to be on Straight Cut. I mean,
I'm all over the place.
Have you been on The Good Cigar yet?
Yeah, I was on The Good Cigar a little while ago. It was actually a little while back.
So you're making the rounds, man.
Dude, I'm doing my best to try and promote the show as much as I can because, quite frankly, we're in the same boat as a lot of cigar manufacturers of not being able to advertise.
Now I know that's something that really chaps your butt.
Oh, it really does. But no, so I'm having to do it all grassroots. Just go everywhere and spread the word as best I can.
Well, I got to say, man, brother, you're doing a great job. I know about what your listenership is, and for as long as you've been doing it, you are really kicking butt. So congratulations. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can find your podcast.
Yeah. So you can find our podcast on like Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Google. And then you can follow me on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. We also have a page on Facebook, Twitter. I've got a YouTube that I post some episodes that auto post, but we every once in a while we'll throw up another thing. But then we've got cigarpulpit.com where you can go there and you can find all the old episodes and links to social media and all that fun stuff.
Cool, man. Well, hey, dude, thanks for coming on the show. We always like getting together with you and hanging out and smoking cigars and drinking whatever we can find to drink. This week on the Herf, I'm actually going to be drinking some Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond.
Nice.
Yeah, a good friend of mine brought that over this morning, and it is fantastic. I mean, even though it was morning, I did have to, have a little snoot.
I got to make sure I get on the Herf this week because I missed last week. And last week you were supposed to be telling us all about your grandmother's favorite game.
Yeah.
I heard about your grandfather's favorite game.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that story when you come on tonight.
Okay, perfect.
All right, brother. Well, take care, and I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that interview with Nick Miller from Cigar Pulpit. If you haven't checked out their show, I highly recommend them. It's one of my favorite cigar shows besides Cigar Talk.
Right.
So anyway, Nick and Gator, they're both really good guys. They're friends of mine, and support what they're doing if you get the opportunity to go by and check out their show. Anyway, it is time for the Moose Mountain Goods Coffee Giveaway. So make sure you go by and register if you haven't done that already. It's a no-brainer. It's free. You fill out your your name and email address, and that's it. And you're in the weekly drawing from now on.
Nice.
Yeah. So you don't have to do anything other than that. Now, if you win, you have to send an email in that says Cigar Talk winner in the subject line, and then because we're doing coffee right now with Moose Mountain Goods, you're going to want to put your name, address, and then whether you want beans or ground. They will do that for you, and they ship it out, and we always include some Cigar Talk stickers or something like that in the box as well.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this week we do have a winner, and his name is Philip Martinez. So congratulations, Philip. You are this week's Cigar Talk weekly winner, and you can't go wrong with Moose Mountain Goods coffee. What I love about those guys is, first of all, it's a family business. And when I say family, the mom, the dad, and both of the sons actually do all the work.
That's cool.
Yeah. So last time I talked to Ben, which is the dad, he was teaching the oldest son how to actually do the roasting part.
Oh, wow.
And so they all take part in the roasting, or they're getting there, and then they all take part in the bagging up the coffee, the shipping, and they have a YouTube channel now.
Oh, cool.
So the whole family's on there. So it's kind of cool to watch what they're doing. And I don't know if you knew this, but they actually, all four of them got the COVID.
Really?
And so while they were in quarantine, they started doing video updates every day because people were saying, how are you doing? How's it coming along? Well, he's a firefighter. And I'm sure you know that, there for a while, 42 different firefighters in Abilene got the COVID.
Hit hard here, yeah.
Yeah, so we're really happy they pulled through. They're healthy now, and they're just great people. So if you'd like to check out their coffee, you can go by our website. There's a link down below the episode for Moose Mountain Goods. Click on the link and go over there and check out what they've got, man. They've got Costa Rican, Ethiopian. They've got choke cherry, which I believe is the Guatemalan. And they just started a new family blend. And so that was one of my favorites as well. But my very favorite is the Silverton, which is
it's got to be Ethiopian.
It is the Ethiopian.
I know my Rob Jones loves his Ethiopian coffee.
And it's a smooth Ethiopian. Sometimes Ethiopian can be a little stout.
Yes.
It's still got a little bite to it, but it's still real smooth.
Excellent.
So anyway, hey, something else I want to talk about is, we have elections coming up, and we don't get political on the show, but we do want to say you need to fight for your right as a cigar smoker.
Indeed.
With the FDA and the political landscape that we have, we always have to fight for our rights, which is ridiculous. Just last summer, my son was 19 and he was of legal age to smoke cigars. And now he's not. And he's 20. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
It's a strange world we're living in. And, these rights are important, especially with all the FDA regulations. I'm noticing this when we had our Perdomo rep in earlier this week at the shop. He was telling us the Champagne series is going away.
No way.
100%. And the New York.
Are you serious?
100% serious because of the
predicates.
The predicates.
Wow.
So they're working on some cool stuff. They actually have some older predicates. They're very similar.
Yeah.
And they're going to reblend those as the new 10 years. So,
but that is so ridiculous.
Yes.
Because, in what other industry does a government official come in and say, okay, you know what? We need your recipes for everything you make. And, here's my point of view on it. It's a tobacco plant. Mm-hmm. That's all you need to know. We don't put chemicals in cigars.
Yep.
There's just tobacco in there. So why do I need to give you a recipe?
It'd be like asking the good people, our coffee vendor friends, to have them have a predicate for how they're roasting their coffee beans.
Exactly.
It's a very similar process, actually, in how they're made. So,
yeah.
As far as like the roasting as opposed to the drying and everything, it's nuts. And, and this is hammering the big guys too. Like one of my favorite sticks, the Amazon Basin, going the way of the dodo because of this.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? See,
Yeah.
Bryant loves that stick.
One of my all-time favorites, and I can't get them in. They're going to try and I heard they're going to try and possibly do one more run this year, but after this year...
Well, the FDA has been pushed back to, I believe, August. Yep. So whatever they have basically at the factory right now, that's it. Everything else is going to have predicate registrations. Now, let me tell you this. You might not know this, but it's very interesting. And so like Perdomo, they should be checking this out. We all know how innovative McAuliffe is.
Oh, yeah.
So did you know they have a program called the Predicate Exchange?
Interesting.
So here's the way it works. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not an expert. But you know how, like, some software, like Linux base, is open share.
Yeah.
And so you can come in and work on a program, and someone else can come in and work on your same program.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, if you become a member of the Predicate Exchange, then what you can do is share each other's predicates. So now I can use predicates from McAuliffe or whoever is in this group.
Right.
And you're all covered because you're all sharing predicates that are registered.
Interesting.
Genius.
Once again, just knocking out of the park with innovative thinking.
I know, man.
Yeah, but these are serious issues, and these are going to be ones that, if not addressed now, are going to haunt cigar smokers forever.
Well, and the thing about it is, you never gain ground.
Oh,
you
yeah.
only lose ground. So that being said, if you're not a member of Cigar Rights of America, you really need to go by, sign up. It's $25 a year. You get 2 free cigars. So, I mean, that's almost like going in a shop buying 2 sticks for $25. But it really helps support and gets our message to the people who need to hear it. And they have won some cases, and they have stayed off some of the damaging laws on the books. So even though I say we don't gain ground, because of Cigar Rights of America, we haven't lost a lot of ground.
Yes, important things. I mean, that's what they do. They're, you've got all these people talking about, lobbying. Well, these guys are the ones who are lobbying for our rights, and they're the ones on Capitol Hill trying to actually get action done, in our favor. And
right. Because we're not up there. We don't have, you know what? I would love every cigar smoker in America to show up to Capitol Hill one day and just be like, hey, we're smoking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a time there's pictures of every president since a camera smoking a cigar, and probably paintings of them before that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's what we do in America. We smoke cigars.
Well, I'm completely against taking away any of my rights. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people complain and say, cigars are not like cigarettes. And I agree 100%. Nothing like cigarettes. But here's my thing. I'm an adult. If I want to smoke a cigarette, I should be allowed to smoke a cigarette.
True.
If I want to drink some alcohol, I should be allowed. So when they take away these little, victories in their eyes, it's just chipping away at our rights. And that just goes all over me. Just like the age, going from 18 to 21. I'm well over 21. I'm
right.
Better than double that, but it still is a right being taken away. And what's the next? I don't know if you saw last year, Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii's laws. Yeah, of course. And Jay, our shop owner, he's Hawaiian. And yeah, they're basically every year. It's like going like here in a few years, you have to be 99 to smoke.
I mean, they went from like 18 to 24 to 38 to 48 and all the way up to 60 and 90 years old. So within like a 10-year span, you will have to be 100 years old to smoke a cigar.
Yes. And, that's once again why it's important to have people to fight for these type of things because, and there are little loopholes, like your son, for instance, he's 19, 20 now. Yeah.
He's 20.
He's 20 now. He can actually still legally buy cigars because
did they grandfather?
They have to grandfather. Remember when they switched?
Texas did it.
Yeah, but remember when they switched the drinking age from like 21 to 18 and then back to 21?
Right.
All those people who fell in that window when it was legal to be 18, they got to keep drinking all the way until they were 21. Yeah. So there's basically what happens is you can't go back and make something illegal after the fact. So your son still has, but your daughter, on the other hand, probably not. Like if she was 18 before August 31st of last year, she's good. If she wasn't though,
yeah,
she's got to be 21 now.
She turned 18 in October, so she would not be allowed.
So she won't. Yeah, and it's a 3-month difference. I mean, how silly is that?
It is silly. Most of what the political parties do is just downright silly,
right? I mean, I just want to smoke cigars, drink bourbon, and have a good time, and let everybody else do what they want. But
right? I do what I do. I don't infringe on other people's rights, and you do what you do, and don't and we all just get along. That's what the cigar community is all about. So, like I said, guys, if you haven't signed up for Cigar Rights of America, really take the time and look at it. Give a shout out to Orlando Perez. About 3 weeks ago, he signed up, and now he is a lifetime member.
Really, and Orlando?
Yeah.
See, Orlando, another person I met through the McAuliffe Ambassador community.
Yes.
So this is fantastic. Good to hear.
Yeah, he comes on our HERF every Saturday night. He actually showed his certificate for his lifetime membership, and they send you like a whole sampler pack of cigars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, I mean, hats off to Orlando for doing that and for everyone else who gets involved. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. And until next time,
stay smoking.